¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Welcome, Derry Bennett, Michael Hasser. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Yes, we will talk about the potential VP pick. It seems like it is now down to 2 picks. And, well, from what the reports say, one of them is Governor Tim Walz, which would be a welcome, which is a promising prospect. Folks, today we got to do this this stream short and sweet. So let's start getting everything going. Folks, today and tomorrow is going to be a little difficult. I have the Heat, how's it going? I have the Jeep in the shop. So it's going to be a little bit of rough 2 days. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Folks, before we start, the usual announcements. Please, folks, if you enjoy the content, keep liking the stream on YouTube. I see you. I'm YouTube. Yes, YouTube. I see you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so. Like and follow us here on Twitch. Join the Discord, folks. We have neglected. Well, we's a lot of people. I have not been able to keep up with the last Saturday movie night, but this month, okay, this month, I'm starting to announce it early, folks. Join the Discord. We're gonna do Dune number 2. Dune 2. So if you haven't seen the first one, now's the time. Now's the time. Last Saturday of the month. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. Sorry about your car, man. It happens. It's okay. I've got 2 big repairs coming up. One of them is gonna get done between today. Well, it's today and tomorrow. And the next one I'm gonna have to address at a later date. Yes, the spice be flowing, exactly. Last Saturday of the month, folks. Last Saturday, join the Discord and join us for movie night. All right, folks, we gotta keep it moving because I got plenty of stuff to go through and not enough time. That always seems to be the case. Oh man, if only there was a way to manufacture time out of thin air, huh? Let's keep it going with the weird thing, huh?
It's clear that weird has taken off. I don't know who said it first. I personally heard Tim Waltz use the term first, but I mean, it just stuck. It caught on.
This is exactly why Tim Waltz needs to be the vice president pick, okay? Out of the 2 that seem to be like according to the reports, okay, and we'll go over this, but according to the reports, it's between Shapiro and Waltz, and I gotta say, it's a no-brainer. I'm just saying.
And now everybody's calling Republicans weird, and now we have this ad that dropped. I'm not sure who's responsible for it. I know it's not the Harris campaign, but it's a PAC associated with the Democratic Party, and this ad. This is something else. Let's watch it, because I think that this honestly is like the perfect representation of this current iteration of the Republican Party.
Us MAGA Republicans banned abortion, but that's just the start.
That's just the start.
If Trump gets elected, we want the government involved in all aspects of your sex life.
Way more involved.
But like, true, right? So far in the 5 seconds that we've watched this ad, no lies have been detected so far. No lies have been detected.
Way more involved.
When you have sexual intercourse, it should be illegal to use contraception. No pills, no condoms.
Your genitals are reserved for procreation.
If you
True. Like, again, this is so far, like, this isn't even satire. This is literally just conservatism. Like, it's literally just conservative beliefs. No satire, no exaggeration, nothing. Continue.
freeze 12 eggs, you should be required to have 12 babies.
Okay, this is this is so good. It's making me feel uncomfortable.
Right, because like there's like literally there's no jokes here necessarily. It's literally just conservative ideology. This is literally what I mean. Like, I'm pretty sure that you can find conservatives saying this. Like, you can find quotes that are very similar to this if you just look 5 seconds. The sweaty dude.
Like, this is a damn good ad. I mean, he's sweating. Just like, this is what comes to mind for normal people when you hear about some of the shit that Republicans believe in, right?
Right, but like they literally say that, right? So like I don't know. it's exactly what they believe. That's it. That's literally what it is.
Hear about people who are concerned about the fertility of other individuals, whether or not they have kids, what they do in the privacy of their bedrooms. Like, this is the motherfucker that you imagine. So they're caricaturing Republicans in the perfect way. This is very, very good. Let me go back a little bit since I paused.
I would argue that it's not even like a caricature of. It's just it's just like a stand-in. It's literally just like a representation, not a caricature. Does that make sense?
Pause it to talk over it, but
12 eggs, you should be required to have 12 babies, or else you're a serial killer. And I'm definitely not a serial killer.
Are you?
My son, Monica.
Oh man. Okay, now we're getting into the more satirical elements, but yeah.
Monitors my porn usage to make sure I'm not self-pleasuring.
Just like Speaker of the House
Yeah, this is literally just what happened with Speaker Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson. That's true. You can look it up.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's normal?
Yeah, I do.
It's normal for your son to do that.
You should have a family member monitor your porn use too.
Because pleasuring yourself is very, very naughty.
I'm voting in November.
I'm voting in November. We're all voting in November. Are you?
Because what happens in your bedroom is up to me.
Is up to me and my son. Also, mouth stuff is a sin.
Oh, oh man, oh god, it just got progressively worse. Jesus, nightmare fuel indeed. Oh man, whew, that's Hey, is my bot? Oh, there you go. Okay, my bot is working. I should have put a trigger warning on that one, cause oh my goodness, that was an ad. That was an ad.
And over the whole world rose a promise.
Damn, that is a brutal attack ad. Brutal attack ad. I mean, it encapsulates everything wrong with the Republican Party right now. They are creepy.
Like, I love how, like, when we start talking about, like, politics and stuff, we immediately, like, the first ad we got was a anti-woke ad.
Weird losers. And they are hyper fixated on what everybody else does. So I think that ad slaps. You play this in swing states, I mean, 50-state landslide. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's a really good ad. But what's so weird to me, and I said this on Twitter, is that, for years now, we've been trying so hard to counter Republican stupidity with facts and logic and reason. You know, you've seen my videos. I take time to...
Yeah, there's no point in that. I've too reached that conclusion, Mike Figueroa. I too have reached that conclusion. There's just no point. There's no winning. There's no point because they don't care. That's literally what it comes down to. They don't care. They don't care about actually diving into what reality says. You can't like logic your way with these people. Not in this state. Nope. There's just literally no point. You could have all the facts in the world. You could have all the studies in the world. You could have all the empirical evidence of the world. Articles, news clips, interviews where candidate X says whatever, and they'll still not believe it. Fake news, they'll just wave it off as fake news or whatever. Oh well, he didn't mean it that way. So, yeah, like there's literally no point. These people are beyond facts. No, let me rephrase. Well, yeah, they are beyond facts. But the point being is what I'm trying to say is these people are beyond reaching because they're not operating in reality. There's no base of reality in which you can talk to them, right? Not at this point. Not at this stage of the game. The people that want to leave the cult will leave the cult, and they've got to do that on their own. They've got to come to that conclusion by themselves.
To correct the record and fact check, all of that was just not getting through. Like we were yelling at a fucking brick wall. All we have to do is call these motherfuckers weird. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Call them weird, and they immediately start foaming at the mouth and shitting their pants. Who knew that it was that easy?
Yeah, well, because, like, generally, okay, generally, like, that's not how the left operates, right? That's how the right operates. Generally speaking, the left operates in a more logical in a more logical approach to rebut all the nonsense that comes out of the right. But they don't care. That's the problem. They don't care. It doesn't matter. Reality doesn't matter to these people.
All it took was for one Democrat, Tim Walz, to say, these motherfuckers are weird. And everybody's just like, yeah, they're really weird. And now...
And because of that, I think that it should be automatic, no questions asked. Dude should be VP. It makes people do a double take and think, do I want to associate myself with weirdness? Plus the right is freaking weird. So it works. Yeah, it's true. It's literally true. Like that, what made that ad that he just played hit is the fact that that's literally what they believe. What made that ad slap was that's literally what they believe. Like there's literally a truth, an underlying truth to what the point of the ad was. They literally want to control and dictate what you can and cannot do in the bedroom from beginning to end, right? And that's kind of freaking weird.
Now, the response to that...
Yeah, the ad is all facts, no feelings. Comma crash. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Why is it that religions are obsessed with controlling sex? I don't know if it's all religions, but like particularly particularly the Abrahamic kind. Yeah, I don't know.
Them
It's kind of weird.
being called weird is even more insane because it didn't just stick. Like, the way that they're reacting
Is weird.
It's proving how weird they are. And here's the thing about that attack. I said this in the video, so I don't want to over-repeat myself, but it's non-falsifiable because you never want to be defending yourself as not weird. So if you're already having to do that, you've lost, right? The best thing to do, ignore it. But they can't, because Republicans have yearned to always be like part of the cultural in crowd. They're always, trying to get celebrities to...
Well, I would say it's more like this iteration of the Republican Party is nothing but like culture war issues. So they kind of have to insert themselves in everything, and it's kind of made it all but impossible for them to ignore the situation. Instead, they have to try to rebut in some way.
Support their causes, which is why they latch on to any washed up celebrity that they can find that, signals support for them. So this to them is like the worst thing ever because they've always wanted to be accepted. They've always wanted to be at the top of the social hierarchy, and they are in some ways, right? I mean, if you're a Republican, odds are you're a straight white person, so you're doing okay. But they always wanted to be cool with the liberals who they loathe, and part of it is like since they can't be part of that club, then they hate liberals. I mean, think about these people. Ben Shapiro, dude wanted to be a Hollywood writer. He failed at that, and now he hates liberals. He made it his life mission to, destroy liberals. J.D. Vance, I don't know how true this is, but there's rumors that, and I believe this is according to his roommate, that he was basically pretty libbed up until the reviews came out for Hillbilly Elegy, and then he's like, oh my god, fuck these liberals. I've got to destroy liberals. This is it for me. The liberal elites, the movie critics rejected my shitty book turn movie, and this is it.
I mean, if all it takes for you to turn back on your beliefs is a couple of bombed reviews, maybe you weren't so liberal after all. Does that make sense? If all it takes is for you to be review bombed because of your book and movie, maybe your beliefs weren't that liberal to begin with.
The last straw. So it's crazy that they want to be accepted so bad, and just like shining a light on how weird they are. It's just, I didn't know it was kryptonite for Republicans. Now, I do want to get to some of their defenses. So you have Matt Walsh here. I don't know why they're posting like hour-long clips to Twitter, but
probably because Elon Musk. Mouselander, welcome. By the way, Mouselander, Dune 2, and last Saturday of August. Dune 2. Wow, I'm a conservative now. Yeah, like, imagine, like, all it takes is to get, like, review bombed or I don't know, spited by the other side just to turn just to turn your beliefs. It makes no sense. That's like me or any progressive just saying like they're not progressive anymore because they got jaded because of some liberals. I don't know. Like, I'm still going to hold the same beliefs. I don't care if there's some cringy if there's some cringy like people out there on the internet. It happens. Exactly. Dune. August 31st.
So he talks about weird Democrats because one of the things that I've seen from Republicans in response to the weird accusation is them just saying, no, you're weird, which that's not going to resonate. But let's hear a little bit. I have some Matt Walsh and then I have some Ben Shapiro. You're in for a treat, Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. So here he is responding to the weird allegations. I haven't pre-watched any of this, by the way, so if he says something super sussy or ridiculous, then just keep in mind you've been warned.
Yeah, also, by the way, this is the same dude who sold baby versions of him in diapers. Like a baby version with his adult face to children. So he might want to sit this one out, just saying. I love that. The Uno reverse card. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Points and pay focus groups a lot of money to test them is that it's effective to repeat things over and over and over again. Even when people know they're being fed a manufactured soundbite, and even if people know it's a lie. Like
how the election was stolen. Kind of like that. Yeah? No?
It can still work to some extent at a subconscious level.
He's saying this from experience. If Republicans repeat the same thing over and over and over again, even if it's not true, they can still get people to think it. I have multiple examples. Open borders. All of a sudden...
January 6th. It is Mouselander. It is. I don't know if that's still being sold. I haven't decided to look for that weird, creepy... that weird, creepy plush doll, but, yeah.
Republicans in unison scream open borders, and now it's just accepted that the borders are open, when, no, the borders aren't open. That's fucking stupid. The next thing, genital mutilation, chemical castration when it comes to trans kids. When what we're talking about with regard to gender-affirming care, most of the time is just a change of pronouns, different clothing, maybe a different name until they're older. And then, if a doctor and a parent agrees to it, then, they can get HRT, perhaps puberty blockers. But they've just gotten on this, oh my God, genital mutilation, that everybody just thinks, oh, so kids are getting sex changes. If you care about genital mutilation, you would think that these same people would protest, circumcision. But it's about creating a narrative. So when he says this, he's speaking from experience. He is a paid propagandist for Republicans. So he knows what works. And he's seeing in real time that strategy that Republicans have used now come back to bite them in the ass because Democrats are all saying that Republicans are weird. And it's absolutely landing, which is why they're shitting themselves.
Yep.
Advertising slogans work on the same principle. If you constantly bombard people with the same message, the same slogan over and over and over again, eventually they will, against their will, internalize it. But talking points can backfire, especially when politicians go off script. They can get themselves...
That's true. Yeah, it's pretty freaking creepy, Mouselander. It is. If you've seen the Matt Walsh plushie baby doll thing... Like, it's genuine, like he said earlier, it's genuine nightmare fuel, if you've ever seen it. I don't even know if he still has it on his website, but, it looks like he doesn't have it anymore. Don't squeeze a Charmin. I don't want to. No, it's okay. I assume that they are no longer selling this for reasons. After everybody called them out on this, I don't see it anymore on the Daily Wire's page. No, like, it's so creepy. It's so creepy.
Falls into a lot of trouble very quickly. And we're starting to see that right now with a soundbite you've now heard a million times, and which we discussed yesterday, which is the refrain that J.D. Vance and the other Republicans are weird.
They are.
Every Democrat and media outlet has clearly been instructed to repeat this attack endlessly for the past week.
Okay, I don't think it's correct to say that media outlets are being instructed to repeat this attack. It's not like Fox News where they get talking points with some particular stories, right? Where they call it, Biden's border crisis or some shit like that. I think that with regard to this phenomenon that we're seeing, everybody's talking about weird because Democrats are driving a narrative. They're creating a narrative for the first time in a very long time. When was the last time you can remember Democrats actually creating a narrative and not just like responding to one that Republicans have trumped up, right? This is the first time in a long time. So the media is reacting to Democrats creating a narrative. It's not like they're taking talking points from them. I mean, maybe it's true to an extent with MSNBC, right? Because that's essentially the PR wing of the Democratic Party. But news outlets in general, they're just reporting what's happening. And what's happening right now is a lot of Democrats are all calling Republicans really fucking weird losers. So that's why they're reporting on it.
In an interview the other day, it was West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin's turn to...
Yeah, as opposed to like what conservatives do 24/7, right? So that's pretty freaking rich. Oh my God, that emote.
To repeat this line, but he didn't just repeat it. He also attempted to explain what it means to be weird. And nothing he said made any sense, which suggests that Democrats don't really understand the talking point that they've been handed, yet they're repeating it anyway, of course. Watch.
Wait, what? Even Matt Walsh tweeted about how it's a good attack because it's visceral. And now he's like, oh, no, they don't understand the talking point. What do you mean you don't understand the talking point? The talking point is that you guys are fucking weird. Like, this guy right here has talked about the fertility of young girls.
Yep.
That is weird. That's not normal. He obsesses about the genitals of children. That is not normal. That is not normal. I'm sorry. So, Joe Manchin, not the best example because he's not very bright. And I don't think that he's in these Democratic Party meetings where they're like, okay, everybody, let's call them weird all in unison. He's just jumping on the bandwagon because he wants to be part of the club. And he knows Democrats hate him. At least the Democratic Party's base hates him. But he is dumb, to be fair to Matt Walsh. I do agree with that. But let's listen. I haven't seen this clip yet.
The joke is that Walsh has had a thick beard since he came out of the womb, so the logo of the Sweet Baby Gang, his fan club, was a cartoon baby of him with a full beard. When he did a studio redesign of one-off plushie of the logo was made and is one of the background pops, so SBG actually wanted real versions, so I said, why the heck not? Because it's freaking weird. Okay? Like, first of all, this is from Reddit. I got you. First of all, who calls their followers or community Sweet Baby Gang? Okay. Why? I'm gonna start calling you guys Sweet Truther Gang. Why? Although, like, that first part does kind of make sense, but, like, why make it into production? And why advertise that to children? It's just so weird. Manchin also wants to side with the Dems before they start calling him weird.
Well, that was a weird comment. That definitely is weird. And some of the different things and positions they've taken seems fairly weird to me.
It is weird.
Means basically when you have
So I guess he's referring to the childless cat lady comment, I'm assuming.
Rational, supposedly very educated, rational people saying things that just are so far out of the mainstream that I thought I've heard everything as long as I've been around, but there are some things I haven't heard, and I thought that was a very weird way of putting it. I mean, this thing here is just the name calling back and forth that goes on. I mean, really the attacks is coming from former President Trump and all them. It just, my God, you say what you're for and say what you're against, you say what you agree and what you don't agree with, and go from there.
Aww.
By 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in the oceans.
That's so sad.
There are 18 billion pounds of plastic waste entering our oceans every
year.
We're the new Sweet Baby Gang F. Walsh. We're the truthers now, okay? We're the difficult truthers. All we do is truth. Truthin'. All we do is truth through life.
He's so cucked. Even as he's just like, yeah, Republicans
Manchin is weird too. Yep.
Are weird. He's like, we should stop with the name calling. You know what, Joe Manchin, shut the fuck up. Okay? Matt Walsh can roast you. I'm going to give him permission to roast you. I want to move on to Ben Shapiro because he talked about this. Now, this is a 52-minute long video. We absolutely will not be watching all of this. But we'll watch a little bit of it to see Ben Shapiro's defense of J.D. Vance. Now, I believe this is the episode of the Ben Shapiro show where he tries to tell everybody that J.D. Vance is indeed not weird and very normal. Now, this isn't the best person to make the case for J.D. Vance not being weird, since Ben Shapiro's pretty weird. Like, if a bunch of people were saying that I'm weird and Ben Shapiro tried to defend me, I'd be like, Ben, let it.
A truther is a conspiracy theorist. Yes, that's the play. That's the the play on words.
Let it go. Because if you say that I'm not weird, people are just going to think I'm more weird. Like, this is the guy who said that wet P word is not normal. So he's a dry P word enjoyer. So this guy knows who's normal and who isn't. And who's weird and who isn't. So let's listen.
So, over the last 2 days, according to Tom Elliott, founder of Grabien, CNN and MSNBC.
I'm sorry, I just can't take this guy seriously. Like, is he really going to try to be like, no, actually, what the radical left is trying to say by calling us weird. Like, bro, no, Ben.
Have suggested that J.D. Vance is weird more than 150 times in 2 days.
So what you're trying to say is the radical left has called the right weird 150 times. In this segment, I'll explain why the radical left hates the right and hates America, and also we're not weird. Redmond Barry, welcome. Payback is a thing. It is.
And the Democratic media complex rides again. You know, they are all in coordination.
Posting their L's on Maine. Motherfucker, you have Fox News and all these other, right-wing outlets. You have a bajillion fucking right-wing YouTubers all saying the same talking points. So this one time that the media happens to pick up on a narrative that Democrats spread, all of a sudden you're fucking pissed off. This is what you guys do all the time. So
exactly.
Cope.
That's what's funny about this entire thing. Because, like, this is what the right does. Mind you, Ben's media apparatus is huge. It is his job to do this. Ben is making it even better. Kamikaze, welcome. Amazing.
You can sense the joie de vivre in the media. The media are...
Yeah, that's a good question, Star. Did his crew count the articles? I don't know, but, like, counting how many times they called J.D. Vance weird is, in and of itself, a little
hilarious.
Bit weird.
Overjoyed. For like 3 weeks there, they had massive cognitive dissonance. They hate Donald Trump. They hate J.D. Vance. And so they were like, oh my God, but we still have to cover the fact that Joe Biden is senile. What do we do? So they forced Joe Biden out of the race. And now they're back in their comfort place. They're back to eating their comfort. They're in the corner eating cartons of ice cream and making fun of J.D. Vance. Like their favorite thing to do.
What are you talking about? What? Also, it is a moral imperative to make fun of fascists, okay?
So, Chuck Schumer goes on the Sunday shows and he labels J.D. Vance weird.
The addition of J.D. Vance to this ticket, it's incredibly bad choice. I think Donald Trump.
Why? Why are you saying this, Chuck Schumer? We know it's a bad choice, but you do not interrupt the enemy when they're making a mistake. Okay? You do not interrupt the enemy when they're making a mistake. Okay? What a weird way of putting it. Ice cream and making fun of JD Vance sounds like fun to me. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with having some ice cream and making fun of fascists. It is a moral imperative to do so.
And he's probably sitting and watching the TV, and every day it comes out Vance has done something more extreme, more weird, more erratic. Vance seems to be more erratic and more extreme than President Trump. And I'll bet President Trump is sitting there scratching his head and wondering, why did I pick this guy?
I can't believe he's playing this clip.
Also, his freeze frame is just amazing, by the way. That freeze frame is amazing.
When you have Chuck Schumer clapping JD Vance's cheeks like that, that's embarrassing, right? He just got called weird by Chuck Schumer. That's devastating. That is devastating. Look at Ben Shapiro. He's like, I can't believe I have to defend this shit. I can't believe this is the reality we're living in now.
Ben looks like a Star Trek villain. He is a Star Trek villain.
Much.
Yeah, so again, the idea here is that he's weird. Jen Psaki, who went directly from being the press secretary for Joe Biden to being the press secretary for Kamala Harris, but working for MSNBC, she also says that JD Vance is weird.
He is weird.
Let's watch the clip. Go ahead.
Kamala Harris, in so many ways, might just be the right candidate at the right time. The right candidate for this century, by the way.
I don't know about any of that. I don't know about any of that, but Joe Biden was losing. And Joe Biden was losing and Kamala has a better chance. That's it. That's the beginning and end of that. And Joe Biden was on a very clear trajectory to lose, whereas Kamala Harris has a chance. And maybe by picking a more progressive VP, can have an even better shot. You won't like him when he's angry wherever.
His response, his defense of JD Vance is just, can you believe everybody's calling him weird? Look, this person called him weird. No, this person called him weird. Isn't this so fucked up? They don't even know how to do propaganda anymore. Joe Biden dropping out totally rocked their fucking world in all the worst ways because they don't know what to do. They're just like, can you believe this? Look at this clip, and just seethes more like, holy shit, this is amazing. Is he just going to go through the whole list of people calling JD Vance weird? Because I feel like if I'm JD Vance, you're failing to defend me here, man.
She might be the right candidate to tell the country that actually we don't have to go back. To tell the country that actually back wasn't so great for lots of Americans and that we can go forward instead. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is going to be easy. It is not. Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate and the Republican apparatus behind them will regroup. They will throw everything. It's going to be gross, misogynistic, sexist, racist, all of the things.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of true. Yeah. Yep. Literally the majority of the attacks against Kamala Harris from the right have been just sexist, and racist attacks. That's it. Sorry, team, my internet's not working. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, shoot. Man, that sucks. No problem. I'm glad you stopped by.
This is the candidacy they're going to try and run, is that if you point out that Kamala Harris is in fact both weird on policy and personally, this means that you're a racist and a sexist in the actual...
No. If you have some actual critique of policy, then you're free to do that. I thought everyone was saying that JD Vance was weird. Oh, was wired.
Actual weirdo is the perfectly normal guy from Ohio who's married with kids and goes to Catholic church.
Bro,
No.
I'm sorry, but they're not.
No. That is a wild. That is a wild, like, man, we're not even on the same plane of reality. Like, man, that's like, I can't even think of an analogy, right now, but like, to say that, like, oh, well, just JD Vance is just a normal dude from Ohio that's married with children and goes to church. Nah, bro. Come on.
Not saying that Trump and the Republicans are racist against Kamala Harris because they're calling her weird.
And also, that's not the reason why people are calling him weird. Okay? If the only thing that JD Vance had was that he's just like some dude from Ohio that was a family man that went to church on Sundays, that just, like, that wouldn't do anything, okay? There's a reason why people are calling him weird, okay?
They're saying that they're racist because they're calling her a DEI candidate. Donald Trump is straight up now doing trutherism about whether or not she's black. I mean, if he just was like, no, you're weird, actually. Nuh-uh, I'm not weird, you are. That would be an improvement compared to the shit that they're saying. The House GOP leadership had to come out and say, can we stop with the racism and sexism? Because they're going to fucking up our chances. So he's trying so...
Yeah, like, man, speaking of Olympics, the amount of Olympic, like, mental gymnastics here are worthy of all the gold medals. The amount of pretzel twisting is just astounding. Just got home. What I'd miss? Oh no, we're just memeing about Cognizant. We're just keeping the weird train going.
Hard to turn this back on Democrats, but I mean, if you've got to spin this, how the fuck would you spin this? If I were Ben Shapiro and I had to do propaganda for Republicans, I genuinely would not know how to spin this. Because first and foremost, I feel like JD Vance is just like demonstrably weird, especially given all the shit that he said about childless cat ladies. But I genuinely don't know what else I would say. Like, I think this is why it's important to just be objective and criticize Republicans and Democrats when you disagree with them. That's what I do. I don't have to spin shit, right? I talk shit, and if they say something that I like, then I agree with them. It's just so crazy to me to watch him try to spin this and polish this turd when clearly it's not polishable.
Church. That and believes in traditional family and thinks that it's actually kind of a big social issue if people aren't having kids. JB Pritzker,
Nobody's
the more
saying
you talk,
that.
the more weird he sounds, though.
Right? Like, nobody's saying that. Okay? Nobody's saying that, like, it is bad if you have kids? Question mark? Ask him if he got a new couch lately.
Understand that, right?
Who is the ridiculous governor of Illinois, possible VP pick, apparently. He, too, was suggesting that Trump and Vance are weird.
Let's play the clip, too. Go ahead.
Just weird. I mean, they really are. The things that they stand for. Donald Trump, of course, is afraid of windmills, and, you know, he talks about all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, his running mate, as you probably have heard, is...
He also, don't forget, he talked about Barney Frank's nipples and said they were very disrespectful. Like, don't forget that, okay?
You know, getting known for his obsession with couches, and and somebody who is hiding his views.
His obsession with couches. Oh, man.
On a woman's right to choose. And then just broadly, the attack on people who are childless and saying that we had to raise taxes on childless people, calling them cat ladies. I think, he apologized to cats, but he hasn't apologized to women.
That's true.
Okay, again, the idea here is this is all projection. It's all projection. Okay, how do we know it's projection? Because it's true that there is a weird position with regard to having children or not having children as a society.
There is no weird position, dude. There is no weird position. The weird position is you trying to police that, okay? Nobody cares if you want to have kids or not. That is your personal choice. Don't shit on people that don't want to have kids. And don't shit on people that do want to have kids.
And there is a weird position with regard to traditional family versus alternative lifestyles. That weird position is that all of these things are morally equivalent.
They are. There's literally nothing wrong with having what you would consider just like a cis hetero family, and there's nothing wrong with having a non-cis family. There's literally nothing wrong with any of it. They're still families. They're just families, right? Who cares? That is a good question. What'd you do to get banned into chaps? Chat.
They are not, or that they are societally equivalent in terms of their benefit to society, because they're not. It turns out that all functioning societies are rooted in a traditional family structure that is built around having kids. That is utterly uncontroversial. If it's controversial to you, then you probably should look at your priors.
Not having children is not an alternative lifestyle. Yeah, why, who cares? If you don't want to have kids, that's fine. If you want to have kids, and that is something you and your partner have decided, that's fine. I do agree Ben Shapiro is toxic.
Society
not
is
rooted
rooted
weird accusations.
in the little platoons represented by families. And those families have to be built for the future, or the society doesn't have a future.
We'll be okay. If people don't want to have kids, there's 8 billion of us on the planet. We're going to be okay. Calm down, okay? Chill.
Alternative perspectives, which is that pretty much all personal choice is not a matter of social impact or morality. That is a weird idea. It is a peculiarly Western educated...
Okay, let's go a little bit further.
And childbearing and child rearing explicitly rejects this.
Okay, he's just trying to...
It's sort of kind of snarky nonsense. The only thing that matters on an issue level is the fact that Kamala Harris actually identifies with one side of this particular political divide. And that does have major ramifications for the future of society.
What are you talking about? What?
And let's face it, that's what we would normally call...
Or can't have kids, or just didn't. Yeah, who cares? The Bible, having concubines bear children for you. There you go. Biblically accurate.
Oh, weird. Weird just means.
Okay, so he gets to the, you're weird. God, this is amazing. So, yeah, there you have it. Republicans are not taking the weird accusations very well, and they're kind of proving the point for us, right? Amazing.
I usually talk politics. Some guy did ban me for being a small landlord and having opposing political views. Amazing. All right, shifting gears, folks. This is not Little House on the Prairie. A family doesn't need 6 or more kids to work the family farm, or else you starve to death. Right. I think lots of the partners I had would have been terrible co-parents. Think of the children. Ow! Jesus. Ben just thinks that everyone that doesn't agree with him is evil. Yep.
That is what you're drinking.
Welcome, Wolf Glenn.
That is what your drinking water is traveling.
So that's what your drinking water gets through.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cat! Indeed. There is a cat on stream. I will show you the kitty cat. This is the kitty cat. And as Michael Hassler just posted, she's even got her own emotes. Look at that. I think everyone should have at least 6 cats. Think of the cats. Exactly. Look at her. Look at Vaquita. Cognizant with the 30 biddies. Thank you. I appreciate it. Gigantifying Vaquita, the emote. Well played indeed. All right. The cat will remain on my lap while I finish this here.
You want to show the camera the inside of that?
Yeah, let me take a look at that.
If you live in America, in a home built before 1986, it's more than likely that your tap water is contaminated with lead.
You could either pay for lead service lines to be replaced, or you could wait for a child to be poisoned.
The health impacts are not distributed equally. I grew up just down the street from here. Milwaukee has over 65,000 lead water pipes. And if you're a black kid from a neighborhood like this, you're 4 times more likely than your white counterparts to be poisoned by lead. Unfortunately, the story of Milwaukee's water is not unique.
What we are talking about are children being poisoned.
The Flint water crisis made us all aware that we have a very
Gongon Stand, thank you for the follow.
serious
By the way, because you followed, I think you get some emotes.
lead problem.
Frankly, a lot of what we need to do is not rocket science.
But 10 years after America's lead crisis hit the national spotlight, something big is happening in my old neighborhood and in cities like Milwaukee across the country.
This is a great industry to get into right now. It's very busy.
I came back to my neighborhood to talk to parents, doctors, and workers to understand. In the richest country in the world, why do millions of people still drink water contaminated with lead? And who's gotten in the way of our government cleaning it up?
Oh, does anybody want to take some guesses?
You can take those, I'll give her the next one. You can go ahead, grab whatever you need. I grew up in 53206. My oldest son, he's 17 now, he grew up in 53206. And from the time I brought him home all the way up until the age of 5, he was being lead poisoned.
Shaquita McElroy helps run the coalition.
That's so messed up. That's why I use zero water filters. I think you've mentioned that before. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was you. Yeah, definitely. I also use filters because
on lead emergency in Milwaukee, educating and supporting families to avoid lead exposure.
Everyone knows in K5, it's about drawing, it's about starting the right.
Capitalism, government corruption. Yes. If you live in the projects, lead is not the only thing you have to worry about. They're pumping chemicals. Avoid public housing. Sometimes you don't really have a choice, dude.
Them letters, and he just wasn't meeting those benchmarks. That's when I got educated. That's when I knew exactly what lead poison was and how it affected my son, because I was seeing in real time the effects that it had on him.
Higher levels of lead can result in behavioral problems, learning difficulties, and developmental delay. Young children and pregnant women are particularly vulnerable.
Research has linked lead exposure to cardiovascular problems, reproductive problems, and even higher crime rates. Across the country, there are over 9 million lead service lines bringing water to homes. There are over 65,000 in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee, 5% of children under age 6 have lead levels exceeding 5, which is a very concerning level. And in some neighborhoods, it's 15% of children. Families who are most affected tend to be lower income, people of color. The best treatment is avoidance and being in a safe place where there is no lead exposure.
Until recently, Milwaukee was looking at a 60-year timeline to replace all its lead pipes.
The original timeline was nicely put, fantasy, a nightmare rather.
Like your son was diagnosed to when he was retired.
Exactly, and when I'm long gone.
For decades, there was very little hope that lead pipes would ever be replaced. But in 2014, a catastrophe shocked the nation, forcing politicians to finally confront the crisis.
Governor Snyder had been informed about the dirty, smelly, toxic water in Flint as early as February.
but nothing was done.
What we are talking about are children being poisoned. Of course the federal government comes in, and of course the federal government says you're not going to be poisoning little kids and impacting their entire lives.
Lead poisoning is what corporations want, and the populace less likely to rebel and get educated to the point where they realize they're being screwed by the wealthy.
Wonders if this were a white suburban community, what kind of response there would have been.
Unfortunately, the people...
I mean, I don't know, but like... Never chalk what could be just, never discount what could just be gross incompetence and corruption.
That caused this tremendous problem had no clue. They had absolutely no clue. We can fix this problem, and it will be fixed quickly if I'm elected.
Donald Trump did very little. We see over the course of his presidency that no additional money was appropriated to the city of Flint. The $100 million that the city received in the first quarter of 2017 was received from work that the Obama administration did.
Almost half of Trump's appointees to the Environmental Protection Agency had ties to the industries the EPA is supposed to regulate. 4 years into his
Not surprising.
term, his EPA updated the lead and copper rule, which regulates lead levels in drinking water. But the new rule was questionable.
The amount of time almost doubled from 14 years to 30 years in which utilities would have to respond to what's called an action level exceedance of lead in water.
And when it came to actually replacing lead pipes, his administration rejected the recommendations of medical and scientific experts.
The Trump administration made no additional investments into the state revolving fund to help cities like Flint replace lead lines at an accelerated pace. What the Biden administration has done differently is provide the money.
So last month we released the Biden-Harris Lead Pipe and Paint Action Plan, and the goal is to remove and replace all lead pipes over the next 10 years.
In 2021, President Joe Biden passed the bipartisan infrastructure law, which allocated a record $15 billion nationwide to replace lead pipes. Milwaukee's 60-year timeline to replace its lead pipes recently changed to 20 years, and now 10. That tracks with a new rule from Biden's EPA, which will require the removal of all lead pipes in the country within a decade.
Biden administration's investment into water infrastructure is single-handedly the largest in the nation's history.
These investments will result in improved public health, the creation of more jobs, the infusion of support for important apprenticeship programs, and it is just simply the right thing to do.
I saw that money hitting the streets in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I would have just stopped at that. Dad, anonymously, welcome. There's an undertaking akin to building the interstate highway network, pretty ambitious.
So how many homes do you think you get done in one day?
That's an undertaking akin to building the interstate
We
highway.
usually get around 3 to 4 homes done right now in a day.
And about how many do we need to get to in the entire city of Milwaukee?
I think just roughly, I can't be accurate, but it's 60,000 homes.
60,000. So that means a lot of work.
Yeah, tons of work.
The city of Milwaukee is now replacing over 200 lead lines per month.
Before the infusion of infrastructure dollars, the pace of replacement was about 1,200 a year. The pace is almost double.
Milwaukee recently implemented a new plan to direct money to neighborhoods like Amani that need it the most. That plan was helped by a very specific policy choice in the federal infrastructure law.
Traditionally, lead service line replacement has been funded by loans, and those loans often are repaid back by rate.
If they can keep it funded, it would be awesome for the country. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Raising water rates. I think about the city of Flint, now paying some of the highest water bills in the country post their Flint water crisis disaster. What's significant about the bipartisan infrastructure law is that 49% of all those resources are grants, meaning that communities won't have to pay a single dollar back of that grant portion, so that ratepayers won't have to pay anything out of pocket.
Biden's investment in lead line replacement is also specifically designed to create well-paid jobs that train workers for long-term careers.
How long have you been involved in this work?
I'm going on 3 months with this company.
3 months, so very new.
Very new,
Very
but not every job out there offers this.
What was your background before?
chef.
Oh, man.
Well, I got a kid on the way, so.
Oh, congratulations,
it helps out a lot. You don't have to struggle with 2 or 3 jobs.
Previously, federal rules prevented local governments from ensuring federal infrastructure money went to local workers. The Biden administration recently changed that, opening the door to policies like Milwaukee's, in which 40% of the work on lead service contracts are going to workers from poor neighborhoods. You're from this community?
Yes, this is my own neighborhood.
This is your own neighborhood?
Yes.
How's it?
It won't stop the private water utilities from raising rates. Yep. That's the only issue, because like, even if they technically don't have to like repay any of this back, I don't trust private companies.
How does it make you feel?
Makes me feel good.
I don't trust private utility companies to not take advantage of this.
I'm giving back something.
Seeing all the pipes get replaced makes me feel very proud. If it wasn't for our voices, it would not be happening. We actually had one of our parents, who was our original parents, who started out with Coalition on Lead Emergency. She had a visit from Vice President Kamala Harris come to Milwaukee and really sit down and hear her story and hear her son's story.
It's up to our government agencies and mayors and governors to act with a sense of urgency to prioritize removing every single lead service line. In the words of my son, Aiden, you are all lead-free superheroes.
I think it played a big role in other parents who know her seeing that happen, because that was able to let them know that, for one, the biggest
Agreed.
thing that our community say, our vote do matter. So it was able to clear up that. And another thing is it allowed these parents to see that it's possible for us to make noise at such a high level.
But as another election approaches, federal lead policy could be about to shift again. A law called the Congressional Review Act allows Congress and incoming presidents to undo recently enacted rules. And the Biden administration's rule requiring all lead pipes to be replaced in 10 years isn't expected to be finalized until October. A second Trump administration could undo it, as they did with over 100 environmental rules in Trump's first term. Still, the Biden administration's policies have made one thing clear: fixing big problems takes actual investment.
It's mostly people of color being impacted by lead poisoning, and you look at what society and the public sector dumps into taking care of those people, that far outweighs the cost of what it would take to replace a lead service line.
Nah. Water shouldn't be privatized.
Biggest barrier historically has been, how are we going to pay for this? And the federal government gave a down payment so that we can make sure communities have resources at hand to do something.
Thank you so much for watching our video. If you'd like to see
I'm looking into this zero water filters, and they're not actually that expensive. But anyways. Apparently, Aiden Ross hosted Trump, and we got some pretty interesting, like, just to be clear, Aiden Ross has hosted far-right people before. Each filter lasts about 3 months, and they're great. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. Yeah, I had to deal with the DMV. If you get the government to do some things, you ask them for mediocre service. That's not always true. That's not always true. there's plenty of examples where private companies are worse. Man, grift out of the system, it's fine.
Felt that way about somebody else, that's okay too. But you know, you have.
Yeah, I don't think that government. I don't think government taking over certain services is bad, or automatically means you'll get mediocre service. We have universal healthcare in Denmark. Not only is it free, we don't pay more taxes than you, but it's far superior.
Since day one.
Okay, I don't care.
Thank you so much. I got some good ones.
This is so freaking cringy.
Have a good time, everybody. See you.
Come on outside with the truck.
There we go. Oh man, the irony happening here, where the dude is demanding a on-the-fly fact-checking with the dude who spread a lot of misinformation. Government is more likely to follow its own rules. Private interests are always looking for an opportunity to milk the system more often than government workers. Anyways, also it's easier to provide oversight in a government-run system. True. It's a Cybertruck. It's by default a G.
Okay, Aiden.
Okay, we got. Where's the one? Where's the?
And you know, some of the artists I like. But was took them there.
Right.
No. Where's the? Where's the GIF? There it is. Yeah. That's the thing that happened. I'm not sure if this is a troll account or not. But all the relevant clips were in this one here. Make it stop. No, this is cringe. Pure, unadulterated cringe. At least with the wrap, it won't rust instantly. True. Can they even, like... Oh, well, I guess if it's a personal gift, I guess you could. Right? It's not a donation. No. Well, I thought that was pretty funny and cringy. I forgot to play that after the, after the weird segment. All right, folks, we got a few more articles. Kamala Harris, vice president choice narrows down to Tim Walz and Josh Shapiro. Tomorrow, we're going to find out, folks. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has narrowed her search for vice president running mate to two finalists, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Sorry. Honestly, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me if it was Bashir. But it seems like that's the list narrowed down to the final two. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has narrowed her search for vice president running mate to 2 finalists, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. 3 sources with knowledge of the matter said on Monday. Harris, the vice president, is expected to announce her selection by Tuesday, tomorrow, ahead of her first scheduled public appearance with her running mate that evening at Temple University, Philadelphia. So tomorrow we might actually get that news. It is unclear if a final decision has been made. The sources said the rally will kick off a 5-day, 7-city tour of battleground states, likely to decide the November 5th election. The choice of a running mate is the most consequential decision of Harris's political career, as she hastily pulls together a campaign to challenge Republican nominee Donald Trump and U.S. Senator J.D. Vance's vice presidential pick. In the election, Vance will also make a campaign stop in South Philadelphia on Tuesday. Shapiro, 51, is a rising star of the party with strong approval ratings in Pennsylvania, whose 19 electoral votes make it a must-win state for both Harris and Trump. A former state attorney general, Shapiro would add to the ticket's historical significance. He would be the country's first Jewish vice president, while Harris seeking to become the first Black and South Asian American woman elected to U.S. presidency. Bashir may not have passed a social media audit. I don't know. Yeah. It's down to 2, I hear. Yeah, it's down to these 2. Shapiro's strong support for Israel could alienate some progressive voters. Yeah. That's one way of putting it. What's the current topic? The VP picks. The VP picks. Although it could also appeal to moderate voters and defang Republican efforts to turn the Israel-Gaza war into wedge issue for Democrats. Walt, 60, is a former National Guard member and a former teacher who's raised profile in recent weeks as an effective advocate for Harris. He has attacked Trump and Vance as weird and a viral insult the Harris campaign has embraced. Oh, political scumbags, and I thought it was about Shapiro. No, this is not about Shapiro. You mean Ben Shapiro? A former member of Congress from a Republican-leaning district, Walz has appealed. Oh, I swear I heard you say Shapiro. Yes, I did say Shapiro, but not Ben Shapiro. Josh Shapiro. A former member of Congress from a Republican-leaning district, Walz has proven to appeal to rural white voters, though he has also championed progressive policies as governor, such as free school meals, expanded paid worker leave, while Minnesota, a solidly Democratic state, it is close to Wisconsin and Michigan, 2 crucial battleground states. Speculation has focused on 6 finalists, 4 governors, a senator, and a cabinet secretary in the Biden administration, all white men with a record of winning over rural white independent voters. In addition to Shapiro and Walz, contenders include U.S. Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, and Illinois Governor Pritzker. The candidates will be informed on Monday night or Tuesday morning whether they were picked. Sources told Reuters the Harris campaign plans a social media announcement featuring the duo. Campaign officials familiar with the arrangement said. Harris's search for a running mate began in earnest 2 weeks ago, shortly after President Biden withdrew the race and endorsed her to replace him. There was no immediate indication that Monday's market sell-off would have an impact on Harris's announcement. Timing: Trump seeking to capitalize on the downturn referred to the Kamala crash in a post on his social media site Truth Social. Over the weekend, Harris met with her vetting team, including former Attorney General Eric Holder, whose law firm Covington & Burling LLP scrutinized the finances and background of potential running mates. Holder and his office made in-depth presentations on each finalist, according to multiple sources with the process. Harris is weighing in the decision with her husband, Doug Emhoff, brother-in-law, Tony West, and a small circle of aides and advisors. On her Battleground States tour, Harris and her running mates will hit 7 cities in 5 days: Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan, Durham, North Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada, said a campaign official who did not wish to be named. They will hold rallies in each location along the tour, which will include college campuses, historically black universities, union halls, and restaurants. Over the weekend, the Harris campaign launched a program to persuade Republican voters to support the Democrat and showcase endorsements from Republicans, including former Trump White House officials Stephanie Grisham and Olivia Troy. The program, called Republicans for Harris, will hold kickoff events in battleground states of Arizona, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. On Monday, Harris notched another union endorsement with the Hospitality Workers Union, praising her as having a long-standing record for delivering for union workers. Well, I don't know how fruitful it's going to be to try to court Republicans, but personally, I would focus on getting the getting your bloc out to vote. If it's down to Waltz and Shapiro, then it's going to be Shapiro, even though it should be Waltz. I hope not. I really hope it is Shapiro. I really hope it's Waltz. I really hope it's Waltz. I hope that we get some level of rationality here, and the correct choice is made. The UAW endorsed Beshear. I'm not opposed to it being Beshear, but it seems like he didn't make the short list. Waltz could speak to a broader audience, but Shapiro's likely more donor-friendly. He's a Democrat who knows how to fight. Yeah, I agree. I hope it's Waltz. I hope it's Waltz. Shifting gears here, folks. North Carolina Election Board investigates Elon Musk's pro-Trump PAC after voter data complaint. Nice meme. The North Carolina Attorney General's office said on Monday that it is eyeing a political action committee created by billionaire Elon Musk following a complaint to the state election board over the PAC's collection of personal data while failing to help users register to vote as promised. The North Carolina Board of Elections later Monday told CNBC that it has opened an investigation to Musk America PAC. Quote, North Carolina law makes it a crime for someone to fail I think Waltz is a better DEI candidate. North Carolina makes it a crime for someone to fail to submit a voter registration form if that person has a voter that they would be submitting the voter registration form, said the board's spokesperson Patrick Gannon. Picking walls would be a better signal that they're more serious about bringing common sense change. I agree. The new inquiries and similar one announced Sunday by Michigan Secretary of State follow a report by CNBC that Musk's America PAC was asking website users in battleground states for personal data such as zip codes, full address, and phone numbers under the pretext of helping them register to vote without doing so. In contrast, users of America's PAC site in states that are not considered competitive in 2024 were directed to voter registration pages for their state. The America PAC is supporting Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump in the 2024 election against Vice President Kamala Harris, the de facto Democratic nominee. Musk, the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and owner of X, has said that he created the PAC and helped fund it. Our office is aware of the issue and looking into it, said a spokeswoman of North Carolina AG Josh Stein on Monday about the PAC's website. Stein is a Democratic nominee for governor in North Carolina. They're going to choose a white guy. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, literally, that's the only selection that they've gone down to. Every citizen should know exactly how their personal information is being used by PACs, especially if an entity is claiming it will help people to register to vote in Michigan or any other state, Benson spokeswoman said that day. Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and Wisconsin were among the battleground states where users on America's PAC website were not helped with registering to vote, despite claims that they would get such assistance. Musk and a spokesperson for the America PAC did not return requests for comment. As of Monday, a user with a North Carolina location who opened the America PAC website would not be able to click through to register to vote after submitting personal data, despite pages indicating that they could register on the site. On Friday, shortly after CNBC's first story on America's PAC's voter registration link was published, longtime political activist David Wheeler sent a complaint about the PAC of North Carolina Board of Elections. Wheeler alleged America PAC has broken state law, according to a copy of the complaint reviewed by CNBC. The America's PAC is pretending to be running an online voter registration drive, Wheeler wrote. However, they're simply collecting data on voters and are more fraudulently collecting and retaining confidential information against numerous NC laws. Wheeler runs his own PAC, American Muckrackers, which has spent money opposing election bids of Republican candidates, including former Representative Madison Cawthorn and Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado. Gannon, the public information director for the North Carolina Board of Elections, told CNBC that they have launched an investigation into the America PAC after the election officials received a complaint. The board did not identify the complainant, but the description of the allegations mirrors what Wheeler had written. The complaint alleges that the organization is hosting a website that leads to people to believe that they are registering to vote, but no registration form is ever submitted to election officials. The complaint is being investigated, Gannon said in an email after the first article was published. Why do I get the feeling that this guy, the supposed landlord, why have I seen this before? Are these like one of these like fake, I don't want to say fake because I just don't know, but it feels like one of those troll accounts. I've seen a similar account, not the same name, but like they pretend to be landlords, or maybe they are, I don't know. And that's like literally all they can talk about. I don't get it. How old is this account? Anyways, it doesn't matter. You're good, iPlatinum. You're good. Like, I literally just stopped, I literally just, like, stopped, I just ignored them. Ask James, he'd know. Have they been in James's stream? Don't get involved? I don't know. Such a strange username. In any case. I mean, like, unless all landlords just come to Twitch chats, it just seems really weird. Anyways, on Monday, a spokesperson for Pennsylvania Secretary of State Al Schmidt, who is a Republican, told CNBC that America PAC had not applied to use the state's online voter registration interface. James is the anti-landlord warrior. The Secretary of State's office allowed both partisan and nonpartisan entities who undergo rigorous security testing and agree to be bound by the department terms of use to connect the application program interface to securely submit voter registration applications. America PAC has not applied to participate in this program, and the department is not aware of the entity taking any steps to submit electronic voter registration applications for processing. He did not reply when asked if America PAC's lack of application for the program would lead to an investigation by the Secretary of State or any other legal consequence. America PAC has spent over $100,000 on digital advertising targeting voters in Pennsylvania since early July, according to Ad Impact. So Mr. Elon Musk may be in some hot water. Oh no, say it ain't so. Anyways. Welcome, John Rando. It's funny. Alright, folks, pay attention. Because this is important. Pro-Israel interests pour millions into defeating a second squad member. Cori Bush, whose primary is on Tuesday in Missouri, is facing attacks over criticisms of Israel and allegations of disconnect from constituents. The mail carrier arrived to deliver the attack ads at the same time Representative Cori Bush arrived to dispel them. Quote, he's about to hand you some lies about me, Bush said as the carrier handed a glossy leaflet to a voter at a home in Old North St. Louis where she was canvassing for votes. All we ever hear about you are negative ads, the woman barked back at her as she pulled a handbill out of a stack of mail. You need to get some of your own. It's all because I called for a ceasefire in Gaza, Bush replied. That's where all of this started. In Missouri's 1st congressional district, the pro-Israel lobby is pouring, I'm assuming this is AIPAC, it's pouring millions into a campaign to unseat Bush as part of a broader, well-funded effort to replace critics of Israeli government and the war in Gaza, such as Bush, with more Israeli-friendly Democrats. Outside groups have already spent $15 million on this race, according to Open Secrets, a Washington nonprofit that tracks campaign finance and lobbying data. More than 80% of that money has gone towards ads opposing Bush and supporting her opponent. A prominent member of the squad of the far left Democrats, Bush was the first member of Congress to call for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas 9 days after the October 7th attack on Israel. She has described Israel's subsequent invasion of Gaza, which according to the Gaza Health Ministry has killed nearly 40,000 Palestinians, as genocide. Israel has denied the allegations in a hearing at the UN's top court. And Biden won't help her out. Bush is facing a tight primary contest Tuesday against St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell, who is backed by AIPAC, a powerful pro-Israel group. By the end of the June, Bell, a former member of city council, pushed for policy change after a police officer killed 18-year-old Michael Brown in 2014, had 4 times more cash on hand than the incumbent. Bell and Bush are liberal black Democrats who were born and raised here, who entered public service after protests against police shootings on unarmed black men. Both are beating back allegations of improper behavior Bush faces a federal investigation over allegations that she misused campaign funds to hire her husband to provide security, and Bell faces a civil trial that has been delayed until January over allegations that he fired people based on their gender, age, and race. Both candidates have denied any wrongdoing. But other than the conflicting position on Israel, which has not been mentioned by any of the ads, AIPAC Super PAC, the United Democracy Project, has spent $8.86 million on the dispute. Seems to be over political style. At the heart of the race is a question: should voters here elect a candidate who will vote for the Democratic Party or one who will challenge its direction? AIPAC and other pro-Israel groups spent $17 million to help defeat Jamal Bowman in a June contest that became the most expensive House race in history, but could be surpassed by this race. Bush, an outspoken critic of Israel's 9-month war in Gaza, is their next target. Pay attention, folks, if you are in Missouri or know people in Missouri. This is important. The National Black Empowerment Action Fund, founded by AIPAC veteran Darius Jones, threw $1 million to the race last week. Jones described Bush as an extremist who uses her position to champion issues that will elevate her own profile to the detriment of the black community. How is calling for a ceasefire? Anyways, this makes no sense. At the voters' home in Old North St. Louis, the constituent and the mail carrier said the huge number of ads had left them deeply confused about what to believe. While Bush said her constituents resent having their tax money funded by the bombing of civilians, drawing parallels to the BLM movement, Bell said in an interview that she is wrong in her stance and that while he does not want to see a single innocent civilian hurt, he would continue to stand with Israel against a genocidal Hamas. In interviews, most of the more than a dozen voters across the district did not know that a difference in opinion over the Middle East had triggered the flood of money in their local primary. Most also said that they found the issue important. Although they found the issue important, it would likely not be a deciding factor in who they vote for. In a district with the lower than average median household income and some of the highest rates for violent crime in the country, voters are worried about inflation, the cost of living, and safety. Jovan Manuel, 35, who was one of the many voters who said that while the war embroiling in the Middle East is awful, it would not affect his vote. As far as I know, it's a centuries-old issue. We have to prioritize us, our children, our schools, instead of trying to fix that. Spending a Saturday afternoon in Park in Ferguson with his family, said he was not aware that pro-Israel groups were supporting Bell's campaign. Quote, I don't know how to feel about that, he said, but people around here are fed up with Cori Bush and feel like she hasn't done enough. He said, adding that his vote will still likely go to Bush's opponent. Ads funded by the UDP and Bell's campaign have largely focused on Bush's 2 terms on Capitol Hill, pointing out the activist-turned-lawmaker voted against several major Democratic or bipartisan bills that President Biden ultimately signed into law. Bell, who was also a liberal activist before becoming a prosecutor for the county, has also pledged to work with Democratic Party to pass major initiatives rather than grandstand, as he mentions in his campaign ad. Boo! Patrick Dorton, a spokesperson for UDP, said its endorsement of Bell was because of Bush's horrific anti-Israel record. Horrific. As well as her record of voting against President Biden and the interests of her own St. Louis district. But I don't know what Cori Bush is doing in Washington, but she's not helping us here. She fights with Biden, she votes against our jobs, and she gets nothing done, said a man wearing a high-vis jacket said in one of UDP's ad. I've had enough of Cori Bush, and she did not deliver for St. Louis. In an interview, Bell denied being actively recruited by AIPAC, saying he had no communication with the group before he decided to run for Congress. He calls AIPAC an interest group, just like Clean Energy is an interest group. That's kind of misleading, right? Those in Bush's camp, like, when have you seen a giant, massive interest group for clean energy? You know what I do see? A massive special interest group for fossil fuels. That's what I see. Did you already talk about Harris picking her VP tomorrow night? Yes. I'll give you a brief summary. It looks like it's down to Shapiro and Josh Shapiro and Tim Walz, hoping for Walz, but we will see. Yeah, it really does look like that's the last two. We will see what happens tomorrow. Maybe on Wednesday we'll have something to report. Maybe on Wednesday we'll have something to report. I want Waltz. Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you. Those in Bush's camp see it differently. In her ads, Bush has said St. Louis is not for sale, attacking Republicans for meddling in the primary. Wesley Bell is taking money directly from the same Republican mega donors, spending millions to elect Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to the White House, said Yusma Andrabi, a spokesperson for Justice Democrats, a liberal political action committee dedicated to electing far-left candidates to Congress that has poured $2.3 million into the race. Quote, "It's deceitful," Bush said in an interview. If AIPAC and UDP decided to run Bell because they wanted someone who's going to say they stand 100% with Israel, then say that in the commercials. She viewed that as projection of AIPAC's power. Quote, "What they want to do is show that if you go against them, then you are at risk." Yeah, I think so. I think that's the point. Bush's personal story resonates with many voters here. She catapulted into national spotlight as an outspoken activist during the BLM protests in 2020, which gave her momentum to unseat Representative William Lacey Clay, centrist Democrat who held the office for 2 decades. Bush has since spoken openly, given that abortion is on the ballot in Missouri in November, about being raped and getting an abortion when she was younger. She'd also recounted facing eviction. Her most notable act in Congress may have been protesting the expiration of the pandemic eviction moratorium by sleeping 3 nights on the House steps in 2021, which ultimately resulted in temporary extension of the policy. But after 4 years, Bush's outspoken personality now appears to polarize her district. Voters describe her as either one of the most authentic St. Louisians they could have in office and a breath of fresh air, or as someone who has prioritized her personal politics over her district's interests. One of her biggest local vulnerabilities is that she voted against Biden's bipartisan infrastructure act, drawing the ire of local labor unions, many of which are now backing Bell. Bush has also missed 187 votes between January of 23 and 24 and June of 24, making her 5th among lawmakers with the most missed votes, according to an analysis by Derek P. Willis of the University of Maryland and reviewed by the Washington Post. Of the 4 members who have missed more votes, 2 were being treated for cancer, 1 had a spouse who died, and 1 was running for president. Bush's office acknowledges that she missed 100 votes over 3 days for a COVID diagnosis, 56 votes in 1 week, and the sudden death of a loved one and several after surgery. Bush remains under federal investigation into the use of campaign finances over allegations of improperly hiring her husband to provide security. In a January 30th meeting, Bush told staff that improperly using campaign funds could be viewed as messed up, according to an audio provided to the Post. But one thing to remember is that there are people who are very angry with us, powerful people who are angry with us because we say ceasefire. Bush also told the staff that Justice Department was investigating her to prevent the appearance of a Democratic administration, avoiding looking into Democrats. She encouraged her staff to stick by her like the Reverend Martin Luther King's followers did when he was being investigated, and suggested that the government was using similar tactics as COINTELPRO, a reference to the 1960s-era FBI counterintelligence program, to try to derail the uprising radical movements. Quote, "Look what's happening, the history-making moment that we are in the middle of. Do we run from it because it's tough, or do we push through and walk through it and come out the other side victorious for the people who need us the most?" Said Bush. "Can I make a mistake? Absolutely. We all can make mistakes. I'm not infallible." In a statement responding to both the audio and the investigation, Bush said it was her, quote, "understanding from my attorney that the investigation appears to be concluded and we're just waiting on formal words of the Department of Justice, which she thinks will find no wrongdoing. The Department of Justice has declined to comment. Bell awaits a civil trial in a discrimination lawsuit filed against him by former assistant prosecutor who claims he fired her and other prosecutors because of age, gender, and race. Although he withdrew support from the activist community earlier in his career after making his name as someone who mediated between protesters and the police, many were dismayed when he declined to prosecute Darren Wilson, who killed Brown in 2014. The Department of Justice also declined to prosecute Wilson. Bell's detractors also accuse him of opportunism, pointing to the fact that he had been running against Senator Josh Hawley, a race he was unlikely to win until shortly after the October 7th Hamas attack in Israel. He dropped out to challenge Bush. He said that decision was rooted in his view that Bush was more interested in issues he sees as lower priority for the people in the district. Wait, what? That makes no sense. Come on. You're telling me that you dropped out of the Senate race against Josh Hawley just to challenge her because of, quote, in his view, that Bush was more interested in issues that he sees as lower priorities for people in the district. I'm going to press X to doubt, man. Because, like, if you were actually, like, interested, if you believed that, then why not stay in the race for Senate and expand the Democratic majority in the Senate? If you really believe that. It makes no sense. All right, folks, we got one more. Google loses massive antitrust lawsuit over its search dominance. Google has violated U.S. antitrust law with its search business, a federal judge ruled on Monday today, handing down the tech giant a staggering court defeat with the potential to reshape how millions of Americans get information online and to upend decades of dominance. Quote, after having carefully considered and viewed the witness testimony and evidence, the court reaches the following conclusion. Google is a monopolist and has acted as one to maintain its monopoly, said U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta wrote in Monday's opinion. It has violated Section 2 of the Sherman Act. The decision by the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia is a stunning rebuke of Google's oldest and most important business. The company has spent tens of billions of dollars on exclusive contracts to secure a dominant position as the world's default search provider on smartphones and web browsers. Those contracts have given it the scale to block out would-be rivals such as Microsoft Bing and DuckDuckGo, the U.S. government's alleged in a historic antitrust lawsuit filed during the Trump administration. Now, said Mehta, that the powerful position has led to anti-competitive behavior, that it must be stopped. Specifically, Google's exclusive deals with Apple and other key players in mobile ecosystems were anti-competitive, Mehta said. Google has also charged high prices in search advertising that reflects its own monopoly power in search. Those contracts have long meant that when users want to find information, Google is generally the easiest and quickest platform to go to, in which turn has fueled Google's massive online advertising business. While the court did not find that Google has a monopoly in search ads, the broader strokes of the opinion represent the first major decision in a string of U.S. government-led competition lawsuits targeting big tech. This case, in particular, has been described as the biggest tech antitrust case since the U.S. government's antitrust showdown with Microsoft at the turn of the millennium. Neither Google nor the Department of Justice immediately responded for a request for comment. The case is distinct from a separate antitrust suit brought by Biden administration against Google in 2023 related to the company's advertising technology business. That case is expected to hear trial in early September. But Monday's decision marks a second high-profile antitrust defeat for Google after a federal jury in California said in December that Google runs an illegal monopoly with its proprietary app store. The court in that case is still deliberating possible remedies. Meta's decision is expected to trigger a separate proceeding to determine what penalties Google will face. after which point the company is also likely to file an appeal, meaning it may take months or even years for any potential consequences to play out. But the ruling could ultimately upend how Google makes its search engine available to users by impacting its ability to make the pricey deals with device makers and online service providers that were at the heart of the case. Other remedies could be on the table too. For example, the court could force Google to implement a choice screen, letting users know about other available search engines. That would be interesting. The company is also likely to face a monetary fine, although fines are not the primary way in which American antitrust system enforces the law, because they tend to be a drop in the bucket for a huge, very profitable company like Google. At the time of the lawsuit was filed, U.S. antitrust officials also did not rule out possibility of a Google breakup, warning that Google's behavior could threaten future innovation or the rise of a Google successor. Someone's finally about to start using Bing. There's actually a lot of different search engines out there, but Google has a particularly tight grip on the market. The ruling could also be a bellwether for other major tech antitrusts that are moving through the courts, including against Apple and Amazon. Both Amazon and Apple have called the antitrust lawsuits filed against them wrong on the facts of the law. Even though they fought that in court. Yep. Oh, Google literally became a verb even though they fought that in court. Yep, exactly. Just Google it. There are lots of part of the government's argument in its case against Google that are puzzle pieces to their own cases, things like zero-price markets. And these are markets where you don't have to pay every time you search. How the judge handles those questions in this case will be looked at closely and will be influential in other cases, but it won't be legally binding. Meta's 277-page opinion follows a lengthy multi-week trial last year that saw high-ranking executives from Google as well as rivals and partners including Apple, Microsoft, and others to testify in person. Much of the complex proceeding took place behind closed doors, reflecting the sensitive business of the information involved in deals that powered Google's search dominance. At trial, some critics warned that Google's search monopoly, which is fed by a never-ending supply of user search queries, would allow it to leapfrog to a dominant position in artificial intelligence. The enormous amount of search data that is provided to Google through its default agreements can help Google train its AI models to be better than anyone else's, threatening to give Google's an unassailable advantage in AI that would further entrench its power, said Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said from the witness stand. Nadella's testimony highlighted how the government's case may have far-reaching effects that go beyond traditional search and may shape the future of a technology world leaders have described as potentially transformational. If the courts take away Google's agreements that make it the default search engine on so many devices, it could hurt the company's core product at an extremely pivotal moment, said eMarketer senior analyst Evelyn Mitchell-Wolf in an emailed statement. Its ubiquity is its biggest strength, especially as the competition heats up among AI-powered search alternatives, Mitchell-Wolf said, referring to the growing threat to Google's search dominance posed by artificial intelligence tools like OpenAI ChatGPT. We'll definitely keep an eye out on that. All right, folks. We made it. We did it. It's time for me to go. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Thank you. Welcome to all the new followers. I appreciate it. Thank you all for the follow. Thank you for the biddies. I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Asser, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. If you haven't done so, folks, consider hitting the follow button here. If you want to keep helping the channel, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Okay, keep liking the stream. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. This last Saturday of the month, we are doing a movie night for Dune 2. Dune 2. Left flank is up. All right, well, then we'll head that way. we'll head that way. Dune 2, last Saturday of the month. Subscribe, folks, and consider checking out the merch store if you want to keep supporting the channel. The new merch store is up, and great movie. I'm looking forward to it. Join the Discord, folks. I appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. We all hope to see you guys in the next one. Join the Discord for updates for tomorrow. Thank you, Mouselander. I'll see you later. See ya. The spice must flow indeed. All right, hang tight, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.